but one of the things that I have to say that I've always liked about this particular film is the investigative process of it actually makes sense. They start with trying to find Raymond and Coates, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they find out Raymond and Coates are already dead, which then
Mm-hmm.
leads them to think that it's somebody else, which then leads them to find, like you said, Common and the dude, and they're going to the greatest scenes
Clee
of all
Sloan's.
time. Yeah, and then leads them like to find like the real corruption, which is coming from Forrest Whitaker's character. But I always like the way that the story evolves like that, and really how Chris Evans is in this too, right? Shout out to
Oh
the
man.
old Captain America is good in this film, man. He does good as distant Disick or something like that. He just calls him Disco. But he's good in this movie as like the kind of like dude who's trying to figure it out, is a little bit in over his head, and of course he gets murdered as a result in the end of it.
Yeah, you kind of tapped into one of the things I hate about this movie. I don't like seeing
Oh, we
Chris
gonna get there. We
Evans.
gonna get there.
I
We
don't.
gonna get
I
there.
actually I don't even look at it like he's playing Detective Disco, Detective Discant, aka Disco. I look at it like they just killed Captain America. They just killed
Yo, they
Chris
shot
Evans.
Captain America in a
Yeah,
crack house. They did.
in
That
his
is what
throat,
happened.
in his
That
throat,
is
and
what
Keanu
happened.
Reeves just.
Yeah,
I'm gonna hold his hand and watch him die. Like I'm gonna watch the life
yeah,
slowly leave his body. Like that. That irked me. And he takes his
yeah,
badge. Like why would you
yeah.
do that, man?
So
Like
he's not known. So he's not known as a cop on scene.
but they do know that he is the cop on scene when they're like, "Oh, and the cop was does da, 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 he's killed amongst other
You know what?
sheriffs."
That's a good point.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, that's of course because Forrest Whitaker and them put the whole story out because they
yeah,
were
and see,
following the whole
that's the
time.
thing. Yeah, and that's the thing too that taught me, like, yo, the victors tell history.
Of
History's
course.
not.
Of course.
History is not. Something that is neutral or unbiased or just totally objective. It's
Hmm.
subjective, and that's the part that really bothered me about this, where the puppet master, who wasn't getting his hands dirty, kept saying, even up into the end, where he's manipulating Chris Evans, where he's manipulating Tom Ludlow, where he's saying, like, you were my best friend. And he's like, we were family. like
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
hoping that last sentence would save him or give him a reprieve from getting murked.
Yeah. I mean, Forrest Whitaker as Captain Jack Wander,
Yeah,
he's like he looks like he's having so much fun playing that Wander character
yeah.
because he's charismatic. Like
You gotta
he's
be.
cooking. He's cooking the whole time, and that's the other thing. Like I believe that these guys could be a part of a unit, and I
Yeah,
believe that Forrest Whitaker could be the captain of that unit
no question.
because there's moments throughout the movie where you realize like he's as crazy and as vicious as all of his men. And sometimes in some films, especially when you have like a really physical kind of hero like the way Keanu Reeves is in this, at the end when he has to fight Forrest Whitaker or Forrest Whitaker tries to fight him, sometimes that could feel like kind of fake. Like, nah,
Hmm.
he'll bust Forrest up. But I buy Forrest Whitaker lasted a little bit longer with Keanu Reeves because Forrest Whitaker's a big dude,
He's a big
and I
dude.
like yeah, and he had some skill. Like you could see, I imagine that Forrest Whitaker was like, "Yo, I want to be able to fight Keanu Reeves in this scene, man." They were
Hmm.
like, "You sure?" And he's like, "No, yeah, I got it. I want to do it," and it works for the scene because Warner is like such a crazy character like that.
First of all, he understands limitations, which is I can't fight him from a distance. He's younger, he's faster, and he's on the street, so he has more practical knowledge. So I've got to make it close quarters. So and I've got to use my weight and my height.
And he does it,
So
yeah, and he does
so
it.
he does that when he overpowers him, and you see him in these scenes where he doesn't let up. When he's fighting him, he's like pounding on him with both hands. He's not just let me wing it here, showboat. No, he's not giving speeches. He's not giving the whole
Yeah, he's trying to beat
theatrics.
him.
Yeah, he's trying to beat him. And then when what catches up to him is his age, is his weight,
Yeah,
is the very things that
yeah.
are his strengths. So I definitely rock with that.